Hey guys, Jen here. I hope everybody's doing well. So I wanted to do an addendum or an add-on to the earlier live. Now that I'm not working again, I'm going to try and get back on a regular schedule and put a upload in between each live that's shorter and more condensed. For people who have, don't have the time to sit through a live, or, they just like to hit the main points. And some might have a little more information. It just all depends. I don't know why the light doesn't stay on while I'm recording. That's weird. I apologize for my voice. It's late at night, and it's a little later than I wanted it to be to do this, but I hope it goes all right. So the Truman Show. I said in the beginning of this to my husband's friend when he was still normal in himself and the person I knew him to be, that I felt like my life was the Truman Show. He didn't even know what it was. These people weren't raised like I was. My mom had the TV, raised me a lot, and I think that was part of all this, but I digress. There are clues when you are targeted or you are a Truman that you notice, and they might not be noticed by everyday people. Excuse me. When people are going out of their way to exclude you from the community or the family or shun you, ignore you when you're talking to them, flat out walk away, turn around, never look you in the eye. When you observe people for a long time, you start to get the hang of when somebody is putting on a show, right? Everyone has that friend who is kind of different around everyone. They're never the same. It's just whoever they're with, they agree with that person and they're like that person, and that's what they are for that time. And then they, adjust, or they're like a chameleon. Everyone knows that person, right? Well, it's really easy to tell when you're a Truman, if you're observant and you pay attention to the small details like Truman did here in his wedding photo. For a long time, I was kept very busy and worked a lot. I supported my family. I built a reputation for myself in this town. I have problems like everyone else. I did things that I shouldn't have done. I was the type of person I didn't think I needed a man so much as I wanted my children to have that figure around, and I allowed it to corrupt me and convolute me and harm my family. Most people know this story. You also know that I suspect I was set up for all this, for a long time. But I don't think I'm the only one. That's where, the Truman thing gets a little, or the main character, it gets a little narcissistic, right? But for me, people really are acting. The town really does seem like a set. There are water fountains that don't work, little gazebos and paths to nowhere, empty houses that have sat empty forever, empty businesses. They always have the lawn mowed. They always look perfect, but nobody ever goes in or out of them. And recently, somebody stole my trash. I forgot to tell you guys this. Somebody stole the whole thing, the bin, everything. It was trash day, and it's just disappeared, as if I'm a celebrity or something. And I hope you don't mind the traffic sounds. I have the window open. I prefer old school YouTube. I miss people just talking and being real and making real connections with people. I have talked to the same 2 or 3 people since 2018. We've even seen a couple of his family members going in and out of the dollar store or whatever. One in particular, a cousin who said hello to him, totally ignored me, pretended as if I was not there. This goes deeper, though. I would expect it if it was just for my behavior or things that I had done wrong. I'm just checking the time, sorry. But it wasn't. It was told to me specifically that it was because I went to church. Now, I want to tell you something. these butterfly effects, these ripples that go out from my life and end up in the public. Again, this is a pattern. This is a script that these people in these secret, mystery schools, organizations, that's why so many of us have similar stories, because it would be complicated, right, if everyone had a different script to follow, but they all have the same script, and they all are acting out the same scenarios with spouses or family members, or just in general people they want to sell out. And I gave you proof about the selling out thing, about how the last time I saw my aunts, they specifically, well, I really need a new basement, Jen. I just really need that, as if like they were borrowing money from me. But now I realize that was her. She was telling me, this is why I did what I did. And my other aunt said, oh, we work all the time and this, that, and the other. And then she had the brain aneurysm. But I end up being the one who's, I feel like I think they put a chip in my ear back when the domestic abuse happened. So to say that I'm Truman, it does not just come from nowhere. These things have been building for a long time. They don't take me out of this town anymore. The last time we went to pick my uncle up at the airport, one of the last times I saw my aunt, oh no, we're not allowed in there. Nobody's allowed in unless you're on a flight. And there is no such thing as first class anymore. And I'm like, I just worked for a travel agent not too long ago, and yes, there is, and I see people making videos about it all the time. I'm telling you this intro just because it's been one thing after another, after another, after another. It's not just one thing. It is a series of bizarre behavioral changes in people, and outright just this coldness. For example, when I was working at the Dollar Tree last year and I ended up leaving there, the manager there used to work at Toys R Us with my husband. Apparently they didn't know each other, but again, everything they say is the opposite, right? She never looked me in the eye, ever. I waited on her selling pizzas last week. She came through the drive-thru. She did not look me in the eye. Handed me the money, took her food. Never once did she look me in the eye. This woman never looks me in the eye. When they're gaslighting me at work, I told you about how my boss came in calling her daughter Daisy May, and that's not her name. Daisy was my great-grandmother's name, and it is part of my original name. It's where my mom got part of my name. And the aunt that she looks like, that my boss looks like, I started telling her this. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that was my grandma's name, and I used that name when I was a dancer, and now we got this little dog named Daisy. Now, again, these are not coincidences. This is people specifically trying to, spook me or, bait me into some type of weird behavior, like Truman, something public, right? So then they have a reason. When one of our last fights, the pseudo-spouse told me, when are you just going to go see a psychiatrist? This is what they want to do. When all this started in 2018, and I wasn't as strong as I am now, and I had that head injury, he made me go get cigarettes at 2 in the morning and then locked me out, and I slept in the snow. And then another time he did it and just went to bed. And I had to call his friend to help me break into the basement so I wouldn't freeze. Because I didn't have any coat or anything. I was just in my regular clothes. I'm telling you this so you understand that these things that are happening, they're not my imagination. They're not things I'm hallucinating. They are things that people are saying and doing around me. Now, I got along with this girl when she first started, and she told me she was a Baptist, and we talked a bit, and I told her how I was dealing with some persecution and, some of the things that were happening, and, how even my dog was targeted, and he got hate mail, The other lady that was there, she was on, and I could say this because I'm not using names or anything like that, she was on a substance, and I strongly disagree. I don't want to be around that stuff. And it was weird because I told her, I said, well, maybe you just need to take a few days off. And not 10 minutes later, a whole SWAT team comes and takes her away. I don't know what I'm manifesting, but it's weird. But anyway, when I was telling her about the Daisy thing, she just ignored me. She turned around and totally ignored me. I thought I turned that off. I'm sorry. And it was totally out of character. I couldn't figure out why she screamed at me, why she's doing all this. Now, this girl that started, the thing is, when she came to work the other day, she came in a black truck. And I was talking to the other little girl, the assistant manager, inside the building. And I said, I wonder who that is. Now, my husband, when he sees this black truck around every time, that MFer thinks he's so tough, in this big black truck. First of all, you don't know who it is because the windows are tinted. There's a lot of that right now, isn't it? How much you want to bet some of them are driverless cars being tested? How much you want to bet? And that might exactly be why these planes are crashing. But I believe there was a deception with planes all along. And I shared a video on my community page where I talk about planes and Tiffany Gomez, if you want to check that out. Sorry about the notifications. Oh my goodness. Maybe I should do this over. They know you're doing a video, so I never get notifications, but whatever. So yeah, somebody stole my trash. Nobody looks me in the eye. My husband and my pseudo-husband or whatever, and my son, they avoid me. They don't really talk to me. So I can't even talk to him, about what's going on. So I go outside to have a cigarette at work while this black truck is there, and nobody's getting out. And I'm like, what is the deal? And then it hits me. I'm like, oh, it's that same black truck that my spouse makes this big deal about, right? Whenever he does that, he's overacting, right? It's very obvious. Okay, obviously you know that person, and you're trying to what do they call that? A double agent or whatever they called Alex Jones. I can't remember. But, they tell you that they hate that person. They can't stand that person. That's what Masons do. My mom and aunts did that all the time. That's just how they are, and that's how they exclude other people. And, oh, we caught you talking about us, and you were gossiping about her. Well, yeah, you came to me with a problem, and I was trying to help you, right? It's very juvenile, all of it. So when the girl finally got out of the truck, I said, oh, hey, so-and-so. I said, did you get dropped off by someone different today? Oh, yeah, and she kind of was shy and turned her face around. By the way, that notification, I think that's one of my son's very old accounts. I think it might be. I'll have to check. Anyways, I knew then that something was up, right? And then this girl starts treating me different. She was really cool with me, but she starts being bossy. I started before her, but it's very OCD. She wants you to do everything her way. And I'm like, look, I know you're here more than me now because I'm only working a couple days a week because it's winter. I said, but I was trained and I helped to train you. I said, this is how I do this. It's food safety. And that's the thing, they're giving out bad food. I've seen them do it. And I was going to leave that day anyway if things didn't change. Because I was about to throw out a bin of onions because they were bad. And she said, yeah, so, our manager says, when in doubt, throw it out. So we throw it out, but we had already I'd already threw some on a pizza. I got to put my hand and my glove in there, and I got some out, and that's when you can tell, whoa, something's not right. And so I go to throw the pizza away, right, to make a new pizza, and she goes, no, you don't have to do that, just use it. And I'm like, okay, what's that customer going to feel like when I say, we just used onions on your pizza that we threw in the trash? Now think about this. Now I'm getting told, as my manager, who never yells, never raises her voice. But again, things have been kind of weird. And this girl has been kind of weird. She gets to work in that black truck. Obviously, it's someone I know. I think she's one of the Mason princesses. And I talk about that in the long stream earlier. And so, basically, what I'm going through is public humiliation. For this girl, I think the show was for her. and she wouldn't go outside. I said, do you want to go outside? Oh, no, it's cold out there. And again, my boss doesn't talk like this. She was talking very juvenile, like very, what are you going to do, huh? What are you going to say, huh? Like just really weird, like a high schooler. And I'm listening to her, and she's like, well, I want to hear your side. I try to hear both sides. And as I'm trying to tell her, then she's jumping in, interrupting me. It's like I'm having an argument with my spouse. And I'm like, okay, this is everywhere. Everyone that I deal with is like this with me. Because at the Dollar Tree, the manager wouldn't look me in the eye. The one lady that trained me, who's also supposed to be a Christian, all these people say they're like Baptists or Presbyterians. She comes back from like a vacation or whatever, and when she comes back, things were a little iffy at first anyway, because she's older and she wanted me to do everything her way. And I'm trying to do that and show respect, right? She comes back, and I'm talking to the customers, and she does not like that the customers like me. Other women don't like that. They don't like that I'm a good worker. Like, it's a threat to them, especially older ones. Like, and I get it. I do, because I'm in the same boat, right? The younger ones are replacing us. Like, I totally understand. But soon it's going to be everybody across the board with AI. It's going to be graphic designers. It's going to be techs. It's going to be app builders. Everything. All those people gone. Unemployed in like 24 hours. We will go from, the economy will crash. And it's going to happen in one day. That will happen in 24 hours. Mark my words. God already told me, and I went over this, I think, in the stock market crash video when I mentioned iPet Goat 2. So anyway, she's like throwing this fit or whatever, basically, and I'm like, look, do you want me to leave? And she says, yeah, you just get out. I'm tired of your drama. I'm tired of hearing you have an attitude. She's like, just get your stuff and go. And I was like, oh, okay. Mind you, she knows I walk. Mind you, I had gotten a ride to work that day, so I didn't really have like snow gear with me. So this woman, who is a mother, who I thought had compassion, is sending me, not only is she unemploying me and firing me while I'm already on like SSI disability, but she's kicking me out into the snow to walk home. This is what I'm dealing with. I'm so tired of people telling me that, I need to see somebody or it's a mental thing. That's what they want. Who wouldn't go a little, of course I have an attitude. I am never left alone. Every time I take Sam for a walk, no matter what time it is, this one dog, Fred, he always ends up coming out with his mom or dad. And he is a nasty, nasty poodle. And he barks and like pulls and tries to get at Sam if we pass on the road. And now every time I go outside with him, they're out there at some point. And I try to go at 6 in the morning. I try to go at 5:30 in the morning. I'll go at 8 at night, like just random times. Now, when I walked in, also, I knew that the young man I had given the bike to, all these people that I bought lunches for, people I'd drawn pictures for, given little gifts to, right? Now I'm getting told I have an attitude. None of them are looking at me. But I knew this young man, when I got there, he knew I was getting fired. And he has some type of, from my eyes, inappropriate relationship with the manager. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I haven't seen anything happen, but I've seen him get dropped off with her in her truck and stuff, and this whole thing is very convoluted. All of it. And they don't tell you anything. You don't know who's related or who's not related, because they're always trying to gaslight you. But what is the point of all this? I honestly think it is straight up persecution in part and entertainment in part. Like, I really do. I'll get into that in another video as far as the entertainment line. And another guy, here's another breadcrumb for how you know you're a Truman. There was this other guy at work, and they all remind me of somebody, but they're younger versions of the people I know. Very weird. And this guy giggled every time he saw me. He was just constantly happy, always giggling, and just like funny, right? And his friend always went everywhere with him. Like, they got the job together, they came in together, they left together. And I mentioned something like, yeah, I would never consent to that. I would hate being watched all day long, 24/7 by cameras. And the one guy, like, giggled and, like, stopped himself. And then his friend, like, just looked away. And I said something like, yeah, I know. What's sad is that nobody will just come out and be honest with me. Am I some type of live stream, like Big Brother for the Freemasons? Like, are we being streamed for the elites who are hiding and we're their entertainment? What do you guys think? Because every day I'm dealing with people who I think are cool at first, and then suddenly they're like, whoa, completely different. Now, again, I don't know if somebody's going behind me telling these people, oh, she's an addict, she's this, she's that, she's the other. Who knows? What do you guys think? But it was public humiliation. She was humiliating me intentionally, I believe, in front of a couple of specific people. And I think her hands were tied. I think it was something she had to do because my pseudo-spouse told me so. He said, oh, sounds like her hands were tied. That's his innuendos. He needs plausible deniability. He will never come out and say anything. But if you know anything about a narcissistic abuser, especially one from a certain bloodline, they have no compassion. And they will tell you things without telling you things. Like, they'll never admit it. But just like I just said, oh, well, sounds like somebody out pressured her, like she didn't have a choice. Like, he's telling me that, hey, because I, again, said no to something the other day, and it's been a long time. And it was before the Trump thing. I was talking about that first, too, that I was going celibate, that I just, times are weird. We don't know who's out there or what's going on, and people are acting strange, and I don't want to catch anything, and I don't want to open myself up to sin, because if you do that, and it's not in alignment with natural law that God set in place with a godly plan, then you're opened up. You got a hole in your armor, in your spiritual warfare armor. And that's what they do. They want you to sin. And the one girl got mad. And this is the part I didn't tell you. And this is the part that's very juvenile. I talked about Golden Boy in the earlier video. If you missed it, you should go check it out. And fast forward through it if you need to. If you need to get to the bits where I talk about him. You'll see that the gold snake is the image I put up when I was chatting about him. But I'm sorry this is longer than I intended. So with this Golden Boy, I apologize. Again, I think she was pressured to get rid of me. But again, she was also very different. It's like something takes over these people. There is no compassion anymore. If they do cry, it's very fake and contrived, right? But I told the little manager when I got there and I was cleaning and stuff, I said, oh, I got a bone to pick with him. And she said, oh, well, what is it? And I said, I don't want to talk about it. I'll talk to him. I said, I'm just not happy when people threaten the beings that I love. I said, I love you guys. I love my pets. And she was like, oh, who threatened your beings? Real sweet and real nice, right? Change like that. Because I wouldn't tell her. She said, you don't want to have a little gossip before work? Just a little? I said, no. And she didn't say another word. As soon as you tell them no, like they back off. And that's how I know these people are not completely people. Because when you say no, it's like something physically pushes them away from you. They just lose interest or turn around and walk away. It's the strangest thing. And again, I told you there's ways to determine if someone you love has a demonic attachment, because they do these things, right? They all do these strange little things. They have these little, if a gambler would call them tells, they have these little tells. So I said, nope. So that's one of the things my manager, a grown adult woman, brings up as she's like berating me in front of everybody. She says, oh shoot, where was I? Darn, I don't want this to be too long. I'm sorry, guys. I cracked my head again the other day. It was bad. On my way home, before I got fired. what I got fired for was leaving the night before. But again, whenever these people come in, they don't make room for me to work. They don't want me there. The younger kids have no desire to have me there. They start checking the labor and whatnot. And I'm like, fine, I'll go. He wanted somebody to go, but then I guess he told her. I went and got mad. I don't know. But anyway, mind you, the little manager left, and then the older one come in, and she's acting like the younger one, though. Like, she's behaving like a teenager. And she's yelling at me, and then out of nowhere, she says, and what did Golden Boy do to you? And I'm like, I said, I'll talk to him about it. I said, it's not that big of a deal. I said, but if I have to take legal action against the city, I said, I will. I said, because this personal stuff shouldn't be allowed to follow me into work. I said, and if they would have done their job and they wouldn't have been negligent, none of this would have ever happened. I would have never had the head injury. None of this would have ever happened if they weren't being so negligent. And she says, well, why would you say anything if you're not gonna say what it is? Dude, that's what a child does. Like, you better tell me. Why would you bring it up? Just tell me. Just tell me. My manager, she never acted like this before. She was very cool, very calm. Like I said, the kids listened to her. She got them to calm down if they were rowdy. She was a little weird around me, even from the beginning. And when I said she reminded me of my aunt, that's when she stopped, like, working with me, okay? So this whole thing was basically a public humiliation thing for me, again, because I've gone through this so many times with these people. And I guess they wanted me to freak out or, like, you know, oh my gosh, you guys got demons and they won't leave me alone. They follow. First of all, that's something I would say to a priest. I'm not going to say that to secular worldly people and get my butt thrown in to a hospital, right? I'm not a doctor. None of this is medical advice, but I'm just saying that's how people are today. And God forbid if you ever say, you know, oh, I just want to lay down and never get up with all these euthanasia laws that are coming. I don't even want to live in the United States anymore. Every state has different laws. And I'm really thinking of just doing a Forrest Gump and getting Sam and starting to walk because I've been told get out. She told me the other, you know, to get out of the store. Sends me out in the snow. Like, everyone's always telling me to get out. Spouse said it to me again today. Just get out of here. Just get out. Leave me alone. This is my life. And they want me to be like well and normal and happy all the time. I do love Jesus. I do want to be like Jesus. But I also thirst for justice. God is love, but God is also just. And he is also truth, right? He is not just love. Love is just. God couldn't be just if he didn't have love. How just would it be if somebody, God forbid, ended the life of someone's child and that person just ran free? That's not right? There has to be some type of justice. We would not love God, and God would not be able to love if he was not just. Justice comes from love because you want the people, the beings that you love to be in alignment, and you want things to be just for them, to be balanced, right? So I'm just saying, for anyone that's watching who likes to comment on my videos, you know what? If life's going so great for you right now, why would you come over here and comment on my video? And why did your last video say you're in fear for your life? Lady, I already told you I got your number. You and Michelle, just back off, man. Again, I don't know you people. I don't know what I wish somebody would comment and tell me, like, yes, you are Truman. And you know what's sad? Truman only had one person out of this whole thing. There were millions of people watching him, and he only had one person who tried to get on the show and tell him the truth. Out of all those people in all those years, only one. This is where he sees his deceased father, kind of like I saw my deceased mother on the news. So again, what kind of device do I have? Do I have a military device? Do I never actually get out to anyone on the real internet? Do they just take these things that God is telling me and use them to determine what to do next? You know, it's funny. If people would ask me things, I would probably consent to a whole lot more than I do now if you were just honest with me and said, hey, we need your help with this. And I'd be like, oh, okay. But so everybody's been telling me to get out lately. And you know what? It's been highlighted. It's been a red flag. It's been hitting my spirit in a different way. And if I keep hearing it, I don't know, man. It might be time for me and Sam to leave. It might be time for me to see exactly what is going on out there. The last thing. When you realize your reality is entirely different than you thought, and everything has been manipulated, and even the guy you thought you organically met and fell in love with was, you were set up to meet him, and that was all, it did not happen by happenstance. It changes everything. Like, I gave my whole life for my family, all my best years, and my health is ruined now. And I have nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. He did not want me to save. He would not discuss the future. And I see why now. You can't tell me that you're hiding me away and there's no reason that you're doing it. This is the last thing. We've talked about signs and symbols and all that stuff. Where this is happening, the Super Bowl at the in New Orleans at the Caesar Dome. I've never said this, but I told you my second son, the one who behaves like Elon, my youngest son, because I think Elon is a sim. I don't think he's a real person. My youngest son's name is Caesar, and he named his son, who was born on 6/6, Roman. And that's why I do this as penance or repentance, because I think I helped to create the Antichrist. And if I didn't, well, they're the Antichrist in my life, and I hope and I pray to God every night that that changes and that they are saved somehow, some way. And I do this as atonement to the world, all 30 people who watch my videos. Spread it around, use the butterfly effect. Watch for this day, and especially we're going to talk about spring solstice, because I think you're going to see persecution ramp up because of what I went through at work. I'm seeing that you're going to see persecution ramp up, but you're also going to see a lot of layoffs just because of AI. So again, it's a multifaceted wheelhouse, and we have to be very discerning. I'm sorry this video was so long. You guys stay blessed, and we'll talk soon. Bye.